my personal project interview for this semester. I'm going to do several questions and you answer as best as you can. How do you think the Jewish globalization started and why?
Well, I think it started almost 4,000 years ago. With Abraham Avinu, Abraham, who discovered monotheism, who discovered God. And it says in the Bible that he and his wife Sarah started to make nefashot, to make people believe in what they had discovered. And I think it begins from there. It passes through Moses, brought the gift of liberty, individuality, in divine providence to the world, and it continued with Jesus, and then with Muhammad, and then through all the Jews who did a lot of good to the world and contributed to what we call today.
Okay. The Jewish people had to migrate to several places. This was by election, or were they to several places in the world? They had to move to
several
countries, some countries, to several countries like in the world. Some were from election, they wanted to move, and some they made them move. Can you give examples of one of each?
Well, I think that most Jews throughout history moved because they had to move. Starting the first exile from the first temple, second exile from the second temple, they had to move away from Israel. And I think that they moved by opportunity to the place which first of all accepted them and gave them most of opportunities. You see it in ancient times the Jews fled to Egypt, which was a world power and was a very wealthy country back in the day. They moved to Rome, which was the center of the world. In the Middle Ages they moved to Poland, and they even call it, there's a Jewish acronym that says that Poland in Hebrew, Polin, means it's composed of two words, Polin, you should rest here. Po, here, lin, you should rest. So they had such a good time there because the Polish king invited them there and gave them protection. And speak with Jews moving them to the USA, American Dream. So most of it was, they were coerced, but also they selected where to go. Things combined.
Okay. Which changes can we see in the religion due to this migration?
Well, sometimes when you are not in your own country, you're a minority, you have to protect yourself all the time from intermarriage and assimilation. You have to protect your belief, you will not disappear. So I think that it defined more what Judaism was, because I think that the best definition comes out when you have to define yourself looking at the other person, meaning when you compare yourself to someone else, and it sharpens your own definition, and that's what happened to Jews worldwide. That's why I think today Jewish identity is far stronger in diaspora than it is in Israel, because in Israel everyone is Jewish, so they feel safe with their identity, and so it's very fluid. Many do not go to synagogue, whereas outside of Israel, we see that even non-religious Jews, they go to the synagogue because they want to maintain some sort of an affiliation to what they call to be a Jew. So I think in a sense that's something that changed a lot, how we conceive Judaism, but also of course in terms of the way that they dressed, the foods, all the influences that they got from Europe, from Arab countries, from Ethiopia. It's very different, so it also is something. Yeah.
Okay, what role did the Second World War play in this Jewish migration?
Well, I think that the Second World War terminated a very long chapter in European history. Jews being in Europe, I think that today the communities are very, very small. Say maybe France and Britain, but there were a lot of Jews in Poland, in Germany, and they just disappeared. Many of them were exterminated, but many of them fled away to the New World, to America. That's that.
Which were the preferred locations to move?
Well, first of all, the United States. Not so long ago, the biggest Jewish community in the world was in the United States. Only a few years ago.
Even more than Israel?
Yes, only a few years ago, less than a decade ago, it changed in favor of Israel. Before that, it was the United States. Almost 6 million Jews live today in the United States. For obvious reasons, I think that anti-Semitism hasn't stricken that country yet. We don't know what can happen. I think it offers people the opportunity to live as they are. The founders of the state were also persecuted Protestants, mainly the Puritans who fled the English church, so they knew what it is to respect another person's belief. That's why they had such a good time there, the Jews. And after that is Israel, of course. But yeah.
This migration was good or bad for our religion?
Well, it's interesting that you call it migration, because do you call the Jews moving to Israel also migration? Or is it in an aliyah? Like, is this a component of this question?
In the religious aspect, is an aliyah, but in the rest, like the
It's
world.
not a religious aspect. It's a social aspect, it's a Zionist aspect, it's an ideological aspect. But okay, but you're asking in the sense of only religion?
And no, like, yeah, religion-wise and people, like, how did the people change? And how did the religion change?
Because of the migration.
Yes.
Well, I think it depends a lot on where you put your focus on. I'll give you an example. History tells us that Jews moved to Yemen after the destruction of the first temple. At the beginning, they have a very good life. The Muslims around, not around Muslims, the people around them joined Judaism, and they established a Jewish state in Yemen. Like, the king was a Jew of all of Yemen. It's an amazing story. But then, not so, a few hundred years afterwards, the Jews were very, very severely persecuted by Muslims, their neighbors. And it was a very hard experience for them. And we know that the Maimonides, the Rambam, sent them this epistle, this letter, telling them even if they convert to Islam, because that's what they were required, they should still keep their faith in their heart. So you see that it does, in effect, influences the way you perceive your religion, that you can even be a Jew secretly. That it happened in Spain with the Marranos, which also did the same thing. So that's for history. I think today it depends a lot on the way of life that you choose yourself. How do you decide to live? Because many people migrate to different places. Some of them just want to run away from their identity, and they find it wherever they go. And some other people migrate to strengthen their own identity. Just to give you an example, you have Jews or Israelis moving to the United States. So some of them join the communities. There are very religious communities within New York City, for example, and I think it affects their religious identity, because again, when you're a Jew living in the diaspora, you always live in some sort of a ghetto, because your synagogue is segregated, because you have to buy your own special food, you have a special school for your children, here you have a special country club. You live separated, and I think it influences the way you perceive your Judaism. But some people decide not to be part of it at all. You see, many of the Israelis come here, and they move to Santa Teresa up here in the north, and they don't take any part in the religious life, in the Jewish life. So for them, the way it affects their identity is that they cut off, in a sense, their identity from these traditional institutions. So it's another effect.
Okay. And the last question, and maybe the most difficult one, which positive aspects can you find in the Second World War?
It's a very hard question. For me, the Second World War is Shoah. 6 million Jews just died. Maybe one good thing that came out of it, I think that in a sense shattered European hypocrisy. Because Europeans had a sense throughout centuries that they are morally superior than other nations. You see it with the Christian missions that they brought to Africa and here to this area, many other areas around the world. Christianity is superior, their European values are superior, and I think that after the horrors that we witnessed, witnessed in the Shoah, that's I think it shattered in a sense, because today you don't see Europe the same way. You go to Berlin, you see at the heart of Berlin that Shoah, the Holocaust Museum. You cannot run away from it. So that's just one good thing that really came out of it. And I think it also, if you look at it historically, ever since 1945, when the Second World War ended, there hasn't been really big bloody wars in Europe. So maybe it marks the end of big wars, at least in the area of Europe. So maybe that's also one of the things that came out of it. We hope.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.